Hey kids! Tonight we're going to be reading chapter 3 of the book Winnie the Pooh. The piglet lived in a very grand house in the middle of a beech tree. And the beech tree was in the middle of the forest. And Piglet lived in the middle of the house. Next to his house was a piece of broken board which says, "Trespassers W" on it. When Christopher Robin asked Piglet what it meant, he said it was his grandfather's name and had been in the family for a long time. Christopher Robin said, "You couldn't be called Trespasser W." And Piglet said, "Yes, you could, because his grandfather was, and it was short for Trespassers Will, which was short for Trespassers William. And his grandfather had two names, in case he lost one. Trespassers after an uncle, and William after Trespasser." "I've got two names," said Christopher Robin carelessly. "Well, there you are. That proves it," said Piglet. One fine winter, when Piglet was brushing away the snow in front of his house, he happened to look up, and there was Winnie the Pooh. Pooh was walking around in a circle, thinking of something else. And when Piglet called to him, he just went on talking. "Hello, Piglet! What are you doing?" "Hunting," said Pooh. "Hunting what?" "Tracking something," said Winnie the Pooh, very mysteriously. Here we can see Piglet brushing away snow from his path. "Tracking what?" said Piglet, coming closer. "That's just what I asked myself." "I asked myself, what? What do you think you'll answer?" "I shall have to wait until I catch up with it," said Winnie the Pooh. "Now look here." He pointed to the ground in front of him. "What do you see there?" "Tracks," said Piglet. "Paw marks." He gave a little squeak of excitement. "Oh, Pooh, do you think it's a woozle?" "It may be," said Pooh. "Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. You can never tell with paw marks." With these few words, he went on track, and Piglet, after watching him for a minute or two, ran after him. Winnie the Pooh had come to a sudden stop, and was bending over the tracks in a puzzled sort of way. "What's the matter?" asked Piglet. "It's a very funny thing," said Bear, "but there seem to be two animals now." This, whatever it is, has been joined by another, whatever it is, and the two of them are now proceeding in company. "Would you mind coming with me, Piglet, in case they turn out to be hostile animals?" Piglet scratched his ears in a nice sort of way, and he said he had nothing to do until Friday, and he'd be delighted to come in case it really was a woozle. So here we can see Winnie the Pooh looking down and thinking about what he's tracking, and Piglet asking him all the questions. And now you can see them walking together. Now, what do you think Winnie the Pooh's tracking? "You mean in case it really is two woozles," said Winnie the Pooh. And Piglet said that anyhow he had nothing to do until Friday. So off they went together. There was a small spiny of large trees just there, and it seemed as if two woozles, if that is what they were, had been going round and spying. So round this spiny they went, Pooh and Piglet after them. Piglet passing the time by telling Pooh that his grandfather, Trespasser W, had done to remove stiffness after tracking, and how his grandfather, Trespasser W, had suffered in his latest years from shortness of breath and other matters of interest. And Pooh wondering what a grandfather was like, and if perhaps this was two grandfathers they were now, and if so, whether he would be allowed to take one home and keep it. and what Christopher Robin would say. And still the tracks went on in front of them. Suddenly, Winnie the Pooh stopped and looked and pointed excitedly in front of him. "Look!" "What?" said Piglet with a jump. And then to show that he hadn't been frightened, he jumped up and down once or twice more in an excited sort of way. "The tracks," said Pooh. "A third animal has joined the other two." Pooh cried. "Pooh," cried Piglet, "do you think it is another woozle?" "No," said Pooh, "because it makes different marks. It is either two woozles and one, as it might be, weasel, or two, as it might be, weasels and one, if so, woozle. Let us continue to follow them." So they went on, feeling just a little anxious now, in case the three animals in front of them were of hostile animals. And Piglet wished very much that his grandfather T.W. were there instead of elsewhere, and Pooh thought how nice it would be if they met Christopher Robin suddenly, but quietly, accidentally, and only because he liked Christopher Robin so much. And then all of a sudden, Winnie the Pooh stopped again and licked the tip of his nose in a cooling manner, for he was feeling more hot and anxious than ever in his life before. There were 4 animals in front of them. "Do you see, Piglet? Look at their tracks. 3 is where woozle and 1 is it was weasel. Another woozle has joined them." Here we can see Winnie the Pooh and Piglet walking along, and we can see that Winnie the Pooh stopped to observe the tracks. So it seemed to be. There were tracks. There were the tracks crossing over each other here, getting muddled up with each other there, but quite plainly every now and then, the tracks of 4 sets of paws. "I think," said Piglet, when he had licked the tip of his nose too, and found that it was very little comfort, "I think that I've just remembered something. I have just remembered something that I forgot to do yesterday, and I shan't be able to do tomorrow. So I suppose I really ought to go back and do it now." "We'll do it this afternoon, and I'll come with you," said Pooh. "It isn't the sort of thing you can do in the afternoon," said Piglet quickly. It's a very particular morning thing, and has to be done in the morning, and if possible between the hours of what you would say the time was." "About 12, said Winnie the Pooh, looking at the sun. "Between, as I was saying, the hours of 12 and 12:05. So really, dear old Pooh, if you'll excuse me, what's that?" Pooh looked up at the sky, and then he heard the whistle again. He looked up into the branches of a big oak tree and saw his friend. "It's Christopher Robin," he said. And then, "You'll be all right," said Piglet. "You'll be quite safe with him. Goodbye," and he trotted off home as quickly as he could, very glad to be out of all the danger again. Christopher Robin came slowly down a street. "Silly old bear," he said. "What were you doing?" "First you went round the spiny twice by yourself, and then Piglet ran after you, and you went round again together, and then you were just going round a 4th time." "Wait a moment," said Winnie the Pooh, holding up his paw. He sat down and thought it was the most thoughtful way he could think, when he fitted his paw into one of the tracks, and then he scratched his nose twice and stood up. "Yes," said Winnie the Pooh. "I see now," he said. "I have been foolish and deluded," he said, "and I am a bear of no brain at all." "You're the best bear in the world," said Christopher Robin soothingly. "Am I?" said Pooh hopefully, and then he brightened up suddenly. "Anyhow," he said, "it's nearly luncheon time." So he went home for it. Here we can see Christopher Robin up in the tree, and then you can see that Piglet has left and Winnie the Pooh's talking to Christopher Robin. And that is the end of chapter 3. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this chapter, and I'll see you for the next one. Good night.